If you're looking for a tool to help you organize your life or handle a big project, you know it's very hard to find a way to keep everything in just one place. You may have tried a few tools before that at first seemed great, but then you were hit by a paywall that you couldn't pay for, and then you had to try something else. One day, you found Notion that promised to be everything you needed for free. Then you open it up and you realize you have no idea how it works. So today I'm here to show you that despite being intimidating, once you understand how it works, Notion is not that hard. So, first things first, yes, Notion has a free plan that will work perfectly for you if you're trying to work on your own. Manage your own projects, manage your own life. But if you're trying to manage a team or make a project with your friends, you're probably gonna have to pay for it. If you're alone, don't worry, all features are available for free. One thing you could run across that's a problem is that there's a maximum file size that you can upload of 5 megabytes, but I don't think that's gonna be a problem for most of you. So, let's keep going. When you first open up Notion, it will come with these pages. They are kind of like a tutorial. You can look through them if you want to see how some features can be used. But my advice is, after you are done with them, delete them. Let's start with a blank canvas. They clear up the screen. They're gonna make things harder, so let's just delete them all. Before I get to the content of the pages themselves, I'll go over some settings that are gonna be useful. Here in my notifications and settings, you can change it so you can be notified in case you want to put reminders here in Notion for yourself or other people. You can switch from light to dark mode. You can also do this by pressing Ctrl+Shift+L. And you can change what page it will open up when you open up Notion. You can change the language. You don't have many options, but still. You can choose to start weeks on Mondays. That will change how it works in the calendar. Here in Workspace, you can change the settings for the workspace you're currently on. But what is a workspace? So, the workspace is the set of all pages you create. The thing is, you can create more than one. And why would you do that? Maybe you have one for yourself and another one for you and your family. Or maybe you have one for your life planning and another one for a specific project. Me, for example, I have one for myself to organize my life and one for my writing projects that are a mess and they're very long, and I don't want them clearing up my life organization. So they now appear in different places, and not only that, this will also affect the searching tool. When you search something, it will only appear the results from the workspace you're currently on. So make your own in the way that's gonna be more convenient to you. So you can create a new one by clicking here, and you can delete the whole workspace by going here. Anyway, you can change each workspace icon, the members, and you can see the paid plans here in case you're interested. So now, let's go into the pages themselves. After you've deleted the ones that Notion provides you, you're starting with only a blank page with a title. So, one thing you can easily do to make this more your style is to add an icon and a cover page. If you click here to add an icon, you can choose between emojis, including geometrical ones that I use a lot. There's also an icon library, just search whatever you like and there's probably going to be something. You can randomize it by clicking here and change the color by clicking here. You can also upload your own images and even GIFs here. So, my advice is to always add an icon, or else all your pages are gonna look like this in the sidebar, and it's probably gonna get confusing at some point. So, add an icon. Let's add a home icon because it's gonna be our home page. Now you can add a cover like this. Hovering your mouse above it, you can see the options to reposition and to change it. Notion provides some pretty cool options here, like NASA pictures, works of art. You can also upload your own pictures from your own computer. You could link them. You could even search for something in Unsplash, which is an image bank. You can search for anything you want, and then you can just click it. You can also reposition to however you like. So, if you click at the 3 dots on top here, on the right, you'll get a few more options. Being able to change the font between default, serif, and mono. You can make the text small, you can make the page full width. Reminder, you have to set this for each page. Everyone can be different if that's what you want. So, let's go into the page itself now. The magic starts when you press slash. Here you're gonna have access to the block types. You can scroll here to see all the options. I'll show you the most important ones. First we have text, which is just text. You don't have to type that to write, you can just write. In any of the block types, you can click here on the left, on this dot, and some options will appear. You can change it into other types of blocks, and you can also change the color, both the color of the font, purple, and you can also change the color of the background. If you highlight the text, you will see some editing tools and more options. You can set it to bold, italics, underlined, all that stuff. So you can also make the text be a link for anything you want, inside or outside Notion. You can also change the color here, although it's a little different. Let me show you why. You see that when I use the dot, the whole row here is highlighted. So if I just highlight this, like this, it will only be behind the text that I have selected. That's the difference. So next block type will have the page. It will create a new page. And this one, just like the one before, you can do whatever you want with it. Add an icon, add a cover. In my opinion, the best part about Notion is that you can add pages, inside pages, inside pages, and you can go on basically forever. This will give you a lot of flexibility on what you can do. So, next block type, to-do list. It will create a to-do list with checkboxes. Task 1. If you click enter, it will continue the to-do list, like task 2. And you can also do it by pressing I don't know what it's called, square bracket open, square bracket close, space. So that's the way you can do it. Next block is going to be a heading. That's basically a title. So heading 1, it's going to be the biggest one. The heading 2, that's going to be like a smaller section, medium. And you can make a heading 3, that's a small section. A good way of using it is making a big topic with a lot of subtopics that by themselves can have more subtopics. I'm gonna take a small detour now to show you something useful. You can make a table of contents to make your navigation easier, and it will show all your headings. And why am I showing you this right now? Is because this will only work if you put headings. A lot of people use other type of blocks to make titles, to make them aesthetic and pretty, but they won't work here in the table of contents. So if you're planning on using them, like you have a very long page that you want to keep organized, use headings. Next one, we have the regular table, and it is a normal table. You can click here on the side or below to add a new row or column. You can also set the header column, different colors. So pretty basic stuff, it's a table. Next one is the bulleted list. It will create a list that you can write whatever you want in, and if you press enter, it will continue. And if you press tab, it will create a subtopic. And if you press tab again, it will create another subtopic. And if you do it again, I think you get it. So, a shortcut for making bulleted lists is pressing dash and space. Next, we'll have the numbered list. That's basically the same thing, but with numbers. And if you press tab, we'll do the same thing with letters, and so on. It's the same thing. Next one, we have toggle list. So this will make so that you can put things inside the list and hide them, like this. You put them inside, and then you can hide them and show them however you like. You can also make toggles out of headers. So like if I want to make a whole section hideable, all I have to do, not only with headings, but every time you want to make a toggle, you press the bigger than and space, it'll create a toggle. Let's put things inside this hideable section, and there you have it. So next we have the quote, which is basically just text with this bar on the side. And next we have the divider. which is a divider. You can also make this by pressing dash 3 times. It will make for you. These are very useful to help you keep organized. So next we have the callout, which I like very much. It will create this block with color, an icon, and text. A lot of people, including myself, like to use this as a title. So let's say title. I can write title. And yeah, you can choose whatever icon you want. One thing you realize is that when you press enter here, you leave the callout area. But if you want to put things inside here, you can. You just need to drag them. So like blah 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 blah. Drag them inside. People like using this to make kind of a post-it note in your board. So that's fun. There is also this block that's a little more complicated that's called the sync block. Sync block. If I copy this into somewhere else, so let's copy and sync and put this on the new page. Here. Everything I change here will change in every iteration of the sync block. So like blah, 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 blah. When I come back here in home, it will have changed too. So yeah, you can do this however many times you want. So now let's talk about templates. So what's a template? When you put it here, template, it will create this window. And what does it do? It will make so everything you put here in the bottom will become a template. So like let's make a weekly planner. So like Monday, Tuesday. So here are the work days. I'm gonna call this new week. Close. Every time I press this button, it will make the whole week for me. You can edit it by clicking here, configure template, and you can always change it. Something you can do here, you can put entire pages, entire groups of pages here. You can put whatever you like here. So go crazy. Another block we have is the breadcrumbs. And what does this do? It will basically show the path to the page that you're currently in. Right now I'm in the home page, so there's only home, but if I like go in a page, inside a page, inside a page, and put the breadcrumb here, it will show the whole path. So if you're making very complex systems, this probably is gonna be useful somehow. You can add images, of course. You can upload them from your computer, you can put a link, and you can also use Unsplash again. You can resize them by dragging this bar here. And if you don't want it to be in the middle, you can also change the alignment right here. So like on the left, on the right, in the center. And you can also add a caption right here. There are a lot of other things you can embed here, like code, audio, a bookmark. But one thing I really like about Notion is that you can embed videos here. So you can upload whichever video you want or just put a YouTube link here. It will embed the video, so you don't have to leave Notion to watch anything you want. Then you can edit it, just like the image, like choose the alignment, put a caption, change the size, do whatever you want. But not only that, there are a lot of other things you can embed here, like tweets, PDFs, Google Drive, maps, anything you want. But remember, you have a 5 megabyte limit, so be careful with that. So we've been using the slash to do everything until now, but there are also some commands that you can use the @ sign to make. You can set a date, a reminder, you can tag people if you're working with a team, and you can leave pages too. So now that you know how to add stuff, you need to know how to organize stuff. You probably don't want everything to look like a long list like this. So let's talk about layout. You can drag a block to the side like this, and it will create a new column. So looking at this, you might think everything below this is now in this column in the left, right? No, only these two are in a column. Everything else is occupying the whole row. So what do you do if you want them to be in the leftmost column? You select them and you drag them. So you put them here, and then now they're in a column. This is good because like this you can make different sections with different number of columns. So like if I want the top to have like 2, but then I want here to have 3, I can do however I choose. So if you hover your mouse between the columns, you will see this gray bar that you can drag left to right to change the width of each one. But we have a problem. Within some blocks, like the toggle list, you won't be able to do that. Like, I cannot drag it here. I can drag it outside the toggle list, but that's not really what we want, is it? So let's put it back here. So does this mean we cannot put columns within toggles and other blocks? You can, but we are going to use a different method. What you're going to do, press slash and type the number of columns you want. So 3 columns. So it will make 3 columns. And like that, you can have the columns within the toggle, and this is also the case for the template. Within the template, if you try to drag it to the side, you also won't be able to, but using this method, 2 columns, you can do it. So now that we're done with block types and layout, let's talk about databases. What is a database? A database is basically a collection of pages that will be displayed in a different way. In what way, you might ask? Well, there are many. Let's start with the simplest one, a table. You're gonna press slash database. You're gonna have 2 options, doing an inline database or a full page. I recommend always doing a full page because it's gonna be more difficult to accidentally delete it or something like that. So how does this differ from the regular table we have already made? I'll show you. Let's make an example. I'm gonna make a movie watch list. So as I said, it's gonna be a collection of pages. So whatever you put here in the leftmost column is gonna be a new page. In this case, it's a movie watch list. So let's put movies. So each entry here is gonna be their own page. So if you click here, open, it's gonna open a whole new page. So each entry here is now its own page. So like, I can use it to make a reveal, I can add an icon, I can add a cover. You can do whatever you can do with another regular page. But then you might ask, why can't I just do this with regular pages then? I'm gonna show you. The magic of the database is going to be adding properties to your pages. So let's say I want to keep track which movies I have already watched and the ones that I haven't. I can put here, for example, status, not watched. Now I can attribute a status to each and every movie here. So let's say I've already watched this. So this is an example of what you can do. I'm gonna show you all the properties you can add to a database. So here, let's come, you can add text. It's just gonna add regular text. So maybe you want to make a small reveal. So there's text. Next one, we have number, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can put numbers. So now we have different number formats, like different currencies, percentages, numbers with commas. Here you have different ways to represent the numbers. You can have the number, the bar, or the ring. The bar and the ring are gonna use a reference amount, maybe your whole budget, I don't know. Let's make this the amount of money you paid to watch the movie. So one very cool thing Notion does is that if you hover your mouse down here, you can see this calculate. If you click here, it will give you a lot of options. Let's say I want Notion to sum everything and tell me the total I have spent. I can put sum, and there you have it. You can also calculate other properties, but they will be different. Like you can count, so here for example you can see I have 6 movies here in total. Anyway, you can drag here to make it smaller or bigger, like everything else. Next property is select. You can make a list of items where you can only choose one for entry. So for example, let's make this rating. So I've copied some stars, so let's make some options like 5 stars, 4 stars. So I can make a rating system like this. I can change the color of the tag, for example. Then you have multi-select, that's basically the same thing. The only difference is that you can select more than one option for entry. So let's say I want to make which feelings I felt while watching. And then you can add multiple to the same movie. So next one we have date. This will be more useful if you're making like a task list, but let's say you want to keep track of when you watch the movie. So you're gonna put the date in which one. This will tie in with something very cool soon. Just wait. Next thing we can put person if you want to tag someone, if you're working with a team. So maybe this could be a task board and then, oh, you do that, you do that. Next we have checkboxes. Maybe you want to do this instead of status to keep track of what you have watched and what you haven't. You can resize it to be as small as you want. You can also drag them to left to right to put wherever you want. There are some pretty self-explanatory things here like URL, email, phone. Then we have formula, which honestly is too complex for me to explain right here. It involves coding. Simple coding, but still coding. I'm not gonna go into that right now. So let's talk about relations. So a relation is a way to link two different databases. So I'm gonna make another one to use it as an example. I've made a very simple blog database, blog posts. So what we're gonna do? Let's say in post 1, I want to talk about 2 movies that I have watched. What can I do? I can come here, can add a relation to movie watch list. I can enable show movie watch list so it will be a two-way connection. Let's do that. So here on post 1 I could put Casablanca and Parasite. So now you have topics from another database in this one. So this is what relations are useful for. And then it will show up here in our movie database. So before I show you the other views of the database, I'll go over some options here. First we have the filter. You can filter through any property. So let's say that, for example, I want only the movies that I have watched to appear here. So I'll go through, filter by status, and only include watched. Then the other ones, they're still here, but they won't appear. And you can do that for any property. So you can remove a filter like this. Pretty basic stuff. Now let's go through sorting. Click here, sort. And this will determine the order in which the entries will appear. So let's say I want them to appear in order of date. You can put ascending, descending, and again, you can do whatever you want with this. You could sort by status, by rating, anything you want. There's also kind of a sub sorting. So let's say I want first to sort by status. So I want the movies that I have watched already on top. So status, descending. And let's say that within the ones that I have already watched, I want to sort them even more. You can click here, add sort, and let's say I want to sort them by rating. So rating, there you have it. And you can keep adding sortings if you need them. So that's that. Okay, let's talk about views. This right here is a view of the database in table form and showing every piece of information that we have put into it. By default, this view is called table, but I can change it. Click in here. I can rename it to, I don't know, overview. And I can also change the icon if I want. We can add a new one. It will give you some options that I'll go over in a bit, but let's stick to the table for now. Here I can choose in which way I want the pages themselves to open. By default, they were in side peek, they're gonna appear by the side. I can put them in center peek or full page. I'm gonna show you all of them now. This is a center peek, this is a side peek, and this is a full page. So you already have the overview, but let's say you want a view of only the movies that you have already watched and really liked. So let's add a filter, status, watched, and add another filter, rating, 5 and 4 stars. Maybe you could call this the best movies. Then you're gonna have a quick access to the ones that you think are the best. This won't change the overview. They are separate, they have the same information, and this is a very easy way for you to access the information you want quickly. You can make however many views you want for different reasons. So if you go into these 3 dots, you can come here and hide any property that's not relevant for this. Let's say I don't care about the blog post, I don't care about the checkbox, I don't care about the cost, and text. Now you have just summed up what you need for this. So let's go into the other view types. First, let's start with the board. It will show things in a very similar way to Trello, if you ever used it. It's gonna show in cards in different columns, and these columns are gonna be determined by a property. Right now by default it's by rating, but I don't want by ratings. So let's change it to status, group by status. So there you have it, not watched, watching, and watched. A cool thing you can do here is you can just drag things to one side and the other, like Trello. This is also very good for tasks, for you to just drag. Oh, I've already done that, you just drag. So again, if you want to change what they're grouped by, you click in these three dots, group, and choose whatever you want. So other options you have is if you go here, layout, you can change like the card preview. For example, Parasite, I put a random cover, it will appear here. You can put specific images here. You can make page content, whatever you want. You can change the size from small, medium, and large. Group is what I've already showed you. And you can set columns to be colored like this, very subtle. And this you can change the default way the pages will open up. Another thing you can do is setting subgroups. So let's, for example, say I want to separate them by rating. It will do. It's gonna be a bit messy, but maybe you have an use for this. Next type of view of a database, timeline. I'm gonna be honest, for this example, timeline is not that useful, but I'm gonna show you how it works. The way it works is that it's gonna show you how much time an entry takes. Here I only set for 1 day, so all of them only last for a day, but I can change that by clicking here, end date, and setting whatever I want, and it will show it here. Or even easier, you can click here and drag. This is very good for tasks, so like from this day to this day I need to do this. Then you put in here and it's gonna be useful for you. Like in the other views, you can group and subgroup them. So let's say I group them by rating again. Again, a mess, but maybe you want that. Maybe in your case, it's gonna be useful. The timeline has a unique property that's called dependencies. It's basically one thing can block another. So let's say I want to watch the sequel to a movie, but I have to watch the movie first. So you can drag this, like this is blocking this. So I can't watch this until I watch this. This is basically how it works. Next view is the calendar view, which is pretty self-explanatory. It will put all the information in a calendar. Just a reminder that you can filter and sort in every type of view. I'm not doing that for the sake of saving time, but you can. So here in this view by default, and the same as the timeline, you can only see the title of the entry, but you can change that. Maybe you want to see some properties here. So let's say I want to see by feeling, so I can show in view and it will appear right here. It's good for color coding things, so if you're making like a task database, you can change by like household stuff, work stuff, personal stuff, and choose different colors, and then it will be all pretty and tidy. So next is the list. It will show just in a list, very basic. The property is show here, and you can change that, put whatever you want here. So let's say I want the checkbox and the cost appear too, and they're here. It's very simple. Next and last one, we have gallery. This will show you the contents that are inside each entry, but even better, you can set them to be images. For example, I'm gonna put the movie images here, and it's gonna look great. So there you have it, looking great. You can reposition them if you so choose. Here in layout, you can choose what the card preview will be. In this case, I just pasted each image here, so it's the page content. But you can change for the cover too, like preview, page cover. Only Parasite has it, but anyway. And you can put none, and it'll show like this, but then just use the board in this case. But anyway, let's put page content. You can fit image, you can change the card size, and that's it. If you want your database to appear in your normal page, there's a way to do that. You can just type linked view of a database right here and put movie watch list. You can choose one of the views that you have already done, or you can make a new one. So let's put overview here. It's here. So now you know how to use Notion. And even then, you might be thinking, it's too much work, I don't have time for all of that. And in which case, you're in luck because Notion offers you some ready templates that you can use, and then you just add the data you want to them. And if you don't find what you need here, you can also search in the internet. I'm sure you'll find it. So this wraps up this tutorial. I hope I helped you. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. Thank you for watching all the way through. This is actually my first video ever. I'm sorry about my English. Obviously, I'm not a native, but still, I'm trying. I hope this was watchable. So I'm planning on making a video setting up Notion from scratch, making like a full homepage, organization, weekly planners, a lot of things. So if you're interested in that, consider subscribing. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching.